Bobby Jindal is going to talk about the recent Oregon shooting, and he's going to blame everything but guns.
So here you have the father of that mass murderer blaming it on the guns.
You know, I was actually in your hometown. I was in Harlan yesterday when I first said this. Look, let's get politically incorrect. He is now lecturing us on the need for gun control, even as he says he has no idea how his son got the guns. Of course he doesn't know. He was never involved in his son's life. He was a complete failure as a father. He shouldn't be showing his face in public. He's the problem here. He says he never held a gun in his life. He had no idea how his son had any guns. Why didn't he know? He failed to raise his son. He should be ashamed of himself. He should owe us all an apology. When asked about his relationship with his son, he said he hadn't seen him because he lived with his mother. And I made a bigger point. You know, every time we have these awful shootings, the left, Hillary and Obama, they want to take away our Second Amendment rights. They never talk about the moral decay we are seeing in our country. Let's be honest. You look at the cultural rot we have seen all around us. We have 6 senseless acts of violence in every element of our culture, our movies, our TV shows, and our songs. Every type of deviant behavior is awarded. We give awards to these producers. You know, whether it's rape, torture, murder, mass murder, these are all considered cultural achievements. We're promoting evil. We promote the degradation of women. We flaunt laws of God and common decency. We promote it all. We flood our young people with it. You've got boys, we tell them they can't bully at school. They come home, they play these graphic video games where, sensational violence. We devalue human life. And finally, and I know that, look, we've already offended all kinds of people. Let me say this. You look at what's happening in our families. We've raised tens of millions of young boys who aren't going to become real men. They don't have values. They have no truth. They have no regard for common decency. And a large part of that reason is they've got no father figure in their lives or broken relationship with their fathers. We need a spiritual revival in this country. It's what they used to say, garbage in, garbage out. We fill our culture with garbage. Now we're reaping the result. We've got evil in our midst. It's not about taking away law-abiding citizens' gun rights. It really is about going after the cultural decay, the moral rot we see in our society. The left wants to take God out of the public square. We are now reaping the consequences of that.
That's adorable. Look at the mental gymnastics and the pretzel he's twisting himself into. He blamed everything except easy access to guns. Everything. He said absent fathers, moral decay, music videos, movies, video games, lack of religion, and lack of prayer in school. That's hilarious, man. I mean, it's never been more obvious to me that these guys are just totally trying to sidestep the issue. Like, blame anything but that because that's sacrosanct and that's off the table and let's never do anything with guns. Now, understand, guys, I've said before, I'm somebody, I believe in the Second Amendment in the sense that I believe in what it actually says. So they're talking about a well-regulated militia in the Second Amendment, and that means something. So the word regulated is in the Second Amendment. That means something. So you could regulate the guns. And also they're referring to a militia. Are you in a militia? No, you're not in a fucking militia. So they're not talking about an individual's right to a gun. But even saying that, understand that I'm fine with you owning a gun if you're somebody who is a law-abiding citizen, is, doesn't have anything crazy in your past, doesn't have anything on your record that indicates that you might lose it. It's just a matter of what kind of guns, how many guns, what kind of system should we set up, what kind of system should we put in place in order to verify that you are somebody who's responsible enough to have guns. And the point we're at right now is nowhere near sanity. 40% of gun purchases in America have no background check associated with them whatsoever. None. None whatsoever. So that's the gun show loophole. So that means that you can have somebody who's a paranoid schizophrenic. You can have somebody who is severely depressed. You can have somebody who has multiple felonies on their record. They could just go in, buy a gun, and next thing you know, they can use it. I mean, this kid who had serious issues had an arsenal of over a dozen guns who did this last shooting. And Bobby Jindal comes out there, and what does he want to do? Movies, music, prayer in school, something, anything else other than the guns. Well, then you're just wrong. And understand, other nations, here's the main point, other nations have the same or similar music videos and movies and video games, and the cultures are super similar, but they just don't have as easy access to guns, and the statistics reflect that they don't have the same problem we do. We have between 32 and 36,000 gun deaths on average in America every single year. Just for murders, it's between 8,000 and 12,000 every single year, way above and beyond any other modern nation. So to say it's not the guns, you're just putting your head in the sand and you're denying facts. One of the things these guys like to say is, it's always in the gun-free zones that these shootings happen. Really? You want to know what percentage occur in gun-free zones? 13%. So spare me, you're just wrong. And finally, I'll say this. It's hilarious whenever Bobby Jindal starts a sentence by saying, let's be politically incorrect here. That's his way of saying, like, ooh, I'm going to be a truth teller and I'm going to keep it real. And then he goes on to say, the dumbest shit you've ever heard in your life. Prayer in school, that's why we have all these problems. Decaying society, movies and stuff. That's not you being politically incorrect. That's you being incorrect. Drop the politically. You're just incorrect. And then also he's, let's be honest. He says it like he's some sort of straight shooter. Dude, you're the opposite of a straight shooter. You're so pathetic. Every single right-wing cliche and platitude that there is, which has been thoroughly debunked, you say it as if you're the first person who's ever said it, and you say it as if it's brilliant. As Christopher Hitchens one time said to Sean Hannity in a debate, he goes, you give me the terrible misimpression of somebody who's never read any of the counter-arguments to your position, or something to that effect. That's what I get from Bobby Jindal. He's so deep in that right-wing bubble that he has no idea how stupid he looks to the rest of us.